Hello Year 3, let's start our second English lesson for this week. Let's check you've got everything you need. So you're going to need a sharp pencil, a ruler and your English book. Check you've got those. And we need to think about how we organise our page today because we're going to be writing about plot point 1 together. So I would recommend that you have the date at the top of your page and you use a ruler to draw a straight line across the middle of your page. So then you can use the top of your page for your inspiration station. I know you know all of what that means. And you can use the bottom of your page for your sentence writing. You've got the date and hello on the board here, on the computer here as well. So just take a moment, pause the video and organise your page ready. Okay, I thought we'd start off by actually sharing or just watching the animation again. So just need to sort out for a moment. Oh, that's not what we want. There we go. So we're going to be, as I said last time, we're going to be writing about the insect part of the animation. So I'm going to play that to you now, hoping you'll be able to hear it. We're going to watch just the bit about the insects this time. Just think about the plot. What happens when? Yeah, what happens at the beginning, what happens in the middle, and what happens at the end of this little clip. Here we go. Okay, let me just stop presenting. Perfect. So let's think about the plot then. So the video started with a calm and organised duties going on in the grasslands of Central America. There's actually a lot of grasslands that are there. So this is for those of you that don't know, parents at home perhaps if you're watching, this is like a timeline, I suppose, of our plots, the plot points, I suppose, going through the animation. And this is almost the journey of the ants through the story. So the very first plot point is that calm and organised duties. The ants are going about their normal business. They're doing some collecting, I think, in the video. And then a sudden and shocking arrival of the anteater happens, one of their predators, of course. After that, we've got our quick thinking from the head ant that saves the troop by blowing a whistle, doesn't he? And then the other ants come along and really try and help save that poor little ant that's almost getting sucked up. And in the end, teamwork saves the day and they defeat the anteater, don't they? So today we're going to be writing about plot point 1. It's the calm and organised duties in the grasslands. So we're almost describing the setting today, and we're going to be using those noun phrases that we talked about yesterday. Perhaps you might want to pause the video now and just remind yourself as to what a noun phrase is. You might want to flick back in your English book to see some examples from yesterday if you need to. So here we've got our positive and negative intent. Let's think about the ants. We could almost imagine that we are the ants. They seem pretty positive, don't they? You might have your own ideas and that's okay. But we've got to decide whether we're in the positive side of things or the negative side of things. And we've got to decide on what scale as well. If it's a +5, that's almost like the best moment of their day. And if it's a -5, that's almost like the worst moment of their day. So have a think about where you think you might pop the intent for this part, and then I'll decide on something, being that we're all together on the screen like this. So you have a think where you might pop it. I would say they are having quite a positive part of their day. They're finding lots of things to eat. Everything's running calmly and smoothly, and they seem to be very orderly, don't they? Everything's going really fine. So I'm going to pop this one on a plus, maybe a +2, I'm thinking. You might agree, you might disagree, that's okay. Certainly in the positive zone though, isn't it? Certainly up there in the positive. So you've done the data analysis, so you don't need to worry about that. I thought we would then just watch the tiny little bit of clip again that we're going to be writing about. So we're just writing about that very, very first little bit. So let's just watch that very first little bit again. You'll need to bear with me a little bit so I can get it organised though. So here we go. So it's from here. Oh, a bit further along. There we go. Okay, just have a little watch, just a little bit of clip that we're doing today. It's very, very short. So pay attention. You might miss it if you look away. That's it. It's very, very short, but we're going to be setting the scene today with our little clip. So let's just get the right bit on again. Here we are. So we're going to write 3 chunks today, as normal, as we would normally do in a lesson. Chunk number 1 is going to be thinking about what we can see. Okay, describing the setting. Chunk number 2, we're going to be thinking about using some repetition in our sentences and some listening, some sounds that might be going on. And then chunk 3, we're going to have a go at writing a complex sentence together and also focusing on what we can see happening. So let's begin our chunk 1. So for these sorts of lessons, we will be pausing the video at certain points as usual. It's going to be a case of you having a little think around different word choices, and I will give you lots of examples as well. So if you get a little bit stuck with thinking about lots of words that mean the same thing, you've got lots of ideas as well. Normally in lesson time we'd have lots of children's ideas to help us, wouldn't we? So you'll have to use mine today to give you a hand if you're a little bit stuck, and that's fine, that's not a problem. So our chunk 1. We want to be using some noun phrases in this chunk. I'd like you to look back at, in your book from yesterday again and choose the best or your favourite noun phrase from yesterday, and we're going to be adding some more in now. In my sentence, I'm going to be describing the grasslands in general, and I'm going to be describing the sun. So I'm going to give you, maybe give yourself maybe 4 or 5 minutes just to have a think around that. If you've got a thesaurus at home, that might be handy as well, or you can actually find synonyms on Google too. So do what you can, use the resources that you've got on this, and I will give you, I'll give you a couple of my ideas in a moment if you're very stuck. So pause the video now and do that. And what we'll do now is we're going to watch another little clip that might help generate some more of these sorts of words. So bear with me. Here we go. So you might want to turn your sound up a little bit because this is quite a quiet video, but the sounds might be quite helpful for us to kind of really engage with what it's like in a grassland. So let's play the video. It was very calm, wasn't it? That might have helped a little bit as well with you generating some more words. Okay, so the words I popped on mine, you would obviously have different ones to me. I quite like the word yellowing in this picture. Certainly in Central America, the grasslands are actually, they can be different colours, but it's certainly this picture, it's yellowing, isn't it? And I'm going to choose burning sun for mine. You might have other ideas, and that's fine. Now, again, for those of you that don't know, with these sorts of lessons, we have a DM at the bottom, don't we? And that means deepening the moment. So that's for children that want to challenge themselves within this little chunk. So it's there if you'd like it. On this occasion, we're describing the movement of the prairie. The movement is like the grasses, like the habitat where all the little animals beneath it live. So that's your challenge if you'd like to extend your chunk today. Let me think about my sentence then. So just have a listen to this part and then you'll do your one in a moment. I would like to really engage the reader straight away. I'm going to describe this place. I'm going to sort of pull them in. I know that the grasslands often grow in Central America, so I'm going to start my sentence off with deep in Central. Oh, I need a capital there because that's a place. Central America, where the now I want to describe the grasslands where I'm going to use that yellowing, which I quite liked the sound of. Yellowing. Waved. Swayed I might use. Where the yellowing grasslands swayed. Now I got that. I want to put that to describe the sun now. So I use that word burning. In Central America, it's very, very hot actually. So I'm going to use the burning sun. There's my noun phrase. The burning sun was, it's very bright in that picture. So I'm going to write was high in the sky. That's my first little chunk. And I've got my my noun phrases here. The yellowing grasslands swayed and the burning sun was high in the sky. So now I'd like to pause the video and give yourself a few minutes, however long you need, to write your own first chunk. You might want to stick with my my structure of the sentence. You might want to just change the words you've been looking at in your inspiration station, or you might want to just write your own first little chunk describing the grasslands. And you can do that for each of these chunks we go through in these lessons. You can either use the structure of my sentences to help you, which is fine. Some of you find that really useful, and that's okay to do. Or you might want to challenge yourself a little bit more and develop the structure to make it more of your own. But make sure you stick with the bit we're writing about and don't move on to the next bit of the story, because we're going to do that together. So make sure you really focus in on the bit we're all writing about in that moment. So take some time now, off you go. Okay, let's move on to chunk number 2 now. So in chunk 2, we're going to do some repetition in a moment. I'd like you to think of some sound words today. We decided it was quite a positive part in the story, didn't we? So they're going to have some positive intent, these words. I'd like to think about some sounds or lack of sounds, because it's quite quiet and soothing, isn't it? And write a little list of words to describe the sound. So for example, the word calm was one I came up with. Pause the video. Add some words to your word list in your inspiration station, and I'll give you some more ideas in a moment. Okay, here's some more ideas. These were my ideas. You can take them if you'd like to. There might be one or two you think, oh yeah, I really like that one. I'm going to add that to my list, and that would be fine. I wouldn't copy out all of them. That's not the task. The task is to have a look through and just choose maybe one or two if you think you need a couple more on your list to choose from. So we've got calm, silent, soothing. I put musical down. That's almost like, the birds are singing, and sometimes they can be quite a nice musical sort of sound, can't it? Tranquil, that means relaxing. Peaceful, I got silent twice, never mind. And like hush, that means sort of a very low, buzz or a very quiet sort of sound. So yeah, do that now. And now let's think about our sentence. So I'm going to continue my sentence, a bit like you'll continue your sentence. So I'm going to write, I'm going to actually describe what it's like at the top of the prairie, the grass, and then I'm going to go in what it's like underneath, which is where those insects were. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to write above the prairie, it was, now I want one of those sound words. I did like my word calm. I'm going to start with that one. Above the prairie, it was calm. Here comes our repetition. It was, I'm going to use that soothing word, I think, soothing, and it was, remember that rule of 3, that makes a really effective sentence when we're repeating something, and it was hushed. I quite like that word. Okay, that is our next little sentence there. So for our repetition, we've got above the prairie, it was calm, it was soothing. I've written smoothing. That's a good job I checked, wasn't it? Very important to check through your writing afterwards. Above the prairie, it was calm, it was soothing, and it was hushed. So pause the video now. You do your sentence, either using my structure or structuring it a little bit more independently. Pause the video, off you go. Okay, let's move on to our third chunk today. So in our third chunk, we've got our complex sentence we're going to write. And we know that for a complex sentence, we need some conjunctions, don't we? Well, we need one conjunction. In this last sentence, I'd like us to talk about 2 things that are happening at the same time. A little bit of a challenging question, but just have a little think. Can you think of any conjunctions that help us describe 2 things that are happening at the same time? Have a think, and I will give you 2, so you've got 2 to choose from. Do that now. So you've got the choice of whilst, so 2 things that are happening, or meanwhile would be another one. So 2 to choose from. Add those to your inspiration station now, so you've got 2 there to choose from. Pause the video and do that. And then we're going to think of some adjectives now to describe the vegetation, we could call it. The vegetation's like all the grassy, natural bits that we'd find on the floor of the grasslands. So adjectives to describe the vegetation from beneath the grass. And if you look in the picture, it's not like a garden. It's not like garden grass that's all very regimented and neat. This is actually in the wild. So my first idea for an adjective is going to be wild. It's messy, yeah? So pause the video, have a think of some more words to describe, some adjectives, the way that the vegetation has grown. Do that now. Okay, here's some ideas. You may add a couple of mine if you like them to your list, or you might have enough already. So I've got the word feral. That means it's another word for wild, it means like really wild, out of control, fierce, tangled, twisted, and I've got jumbled as well. I quite liked those words. So you may add a couple of those if you really liked them to yours. Let's talk about our third sentence then. So I'm going to add to my sentences here, a bit like we'd normally do in school. So I've talked about what's above the prairie and the grasses, and now I want to talk about what's below, and I'm almost introducing those ants, aren't I? Almost. Let me just read the first bit. Deep in Central America, where the yellowing grasslands swayed, the burning sun was high in the sky. Above the prairie it was calm, it was soothing, and it was hushed. Now, I want to use that conjunction first. So I need to choose whether to use whilst or meanwhile. I think I'm going to go with whilst on mine. You can choose whichever. Whilst. Down below, amongst the, now I want to describe that vegetation here, amongst the I'll highlight the tangled word, tangled vegetation. Busy insects. Let's introduce the ants. Busy insects had begun. And there is my 3 chunks together. And on this occasion, we had that conjunction, didn't we, that we used at the beginning to make a complex sentence. And then we had to go at changing that adjective, didn't we? So I've got another noun phrase here, haven't I? And I've got another noun phrase there. I don't know if you spotted it. So pause the video. You have a go at your last errors. It's a good job I check, isn't it? You do the same, please, in yours, because it's very easy to make mistakes, isn't it? Pause the video. You do your last sentence. And I'm gonna say goodbye to you now. Just make sure you edit your paragraph when you've finished, and then if you can take a picture and upload it to Dojo again, that would be amazing. I'd love to hear some of these. Okay, well done for today, and I will see you later on. Goodbye.